The Sharp Novice Hurdle, a Grade 2 contest. We have 5 runners. Number 1 is Bedrock for Harry and Dan Skelton. 2, Better Get Along for Noel Feely. And 3, Slate House. Colin Tizard represented this year as well with a horse that made a very promising debut under rules. Harry Cobden is aboard. Number 4 is Somerville Boy for Adrian Heskin. And number 5 is Dame de Compagnie for Barry Geraghty and Nicky Henderson. So just the 5 runners. JP McManus Hoops at the head of the market here, currently priced at 6 to 5.
As the next one as well, and you know, people are up in arms about this and saying, oh, the horses can see, but the truth of it is, it's like you driving the car. If you can't see where you're going and you need your sun visor, you try and drive your car with no sun visor. That's what it's like for these jockeys trying to jump the hurdles when the sun's in their eyes.
So that's the last. The 2 in the straight look like they're both going to be missed. You wonder if they might move a bit of rail. There's a lot of people in and around the rail looking as though they might make a little bit of movement. Meantime, let's see what's happening in the market, Matt.
Favourite is now re-smashed. Dame de Compagnie, I can see odds on now. Odds on in a place, 10 to 11. Dame de Compagnie, generally even money. 5 to 4 in a moment. Star Sports have just said to me that this is now the best backed horse of the weekend. If Dame de Compagnie wins, they will lose 175,000. And the Sun's always an interesting one. Ex-jockeys, of course, will just simply say, we've got to see. But I always remember the words of the multiple champion jockey, Peter Scudamore, who said in his whole career, he never missed a hurdle or a fence because of the sun. In his whole career.
Yeah, the jockeys are saying they got the last hurdle.
Well, he must have had some horrible falls then, because I must admit, I've ridden down to a hurdle when you can't see it, and the horse that came up and landed right in it. It's just something you cannot do. I'll tell you what, let's go to Richard Hawes.
The issue here, Luke, is that we're missing 2 flights hurdles up the home straight, but because there's no room to get back onto the hurdles course here, the only way we can do this is to carry on round that bend and go round the fence and then rejoin the hurdles course, cross back onto it. So that will mean that not only are we missing the 2 hurdles, but we'll actually shorten this quite considerably, because we'll have to race. If you just keep going to the right, keep an eye on them at the start, but if you keep going, you can see this rail, which they'd normally jump that hurdle and go round. You've got to keep going right the way round. There's no way back onto the hurdles course at this point. If you carry on panning round, you will see they've got to go to the right-hand side of that fence, and then they can rejoin the hurdles course there. So that whole top right-hand side, so basically that's where they're going to have to go to get back on the hurdles course. So it's not just missing 2 flights, and they're having to reposition staff who would be standing in different places. So that's the reason we've got a little bit of a delay. It's not just the hurdles, it's getting them back onto the hurdles track.
And with Nicky Richards, one of the trainers in this race, Better Get Along, the horse in question, just talk us through this process from a trainer's point of view. Obviously you're training hurdlers, but plenty of the hurdles are taken out.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame, but the jockeys must have felt it's not safe, so you better iron on the safe side of things, I think, aren't we? So yeah, if that's what's got to be done, it's got to be done.
Be a flat race from 3 out, potentially.
Oh, it'll be a long old, be a fair climb up that hill with no hurdles in front of them, yeah.
Good form?
Yeah, he's grand. Yeah, he's grand. I like this horse, so we'll find out a little bit about him in a minute or 2, yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Sounds like we're pretty much getting ready. That horse in front could be interesting. They're going to jump 5 hurdles now. A little bit shorter as well. I think Bedrock, just very quickly looking at flat ratings, I think the best of this lot on the flat, which could be a big advantage.
Formerly trained by William Haggis, I think, on the flat. He was, what, 80 races on the flat? So, you know, Harry Skelton will be rubbing his hands together.
It is frustrating for people sitting at home watching this, and it's frustrating for people here that they won't be jumping all the hurdles. But safety, as we've already seen today, is paramount, and they've done the right thing taking out these hurdles.
Alice, what's happening?
Well, Ed, it's interesting. The racecourse have had this low sun problem for ages, and they've been working really hard with the University of Cardiff trying to find a solution. But at the moment, they're literally just having to do what they can do. They've looked at all sorts of structures that they can do, but no one can stop the sun.
They're on about getting it, something.
So the flag is raised, and we're going to have a long run to the first. That's the most important aspect of the hurdles we're missing out. We're going to be running best part of 5 furlongs or so before we leave the ground, and Bedrock jumps away in company with Slate House in 3rd place. You can see the flag being waved to guide them around the left-hand side of the first flight of hurdles. In 3rd place, we have Better Get Along. Dame de Compagnie, the filly, is disputing 3rd place, and held up at the back is Somerville Boy. So they'll slalom back onto the hurdles course. The difficulty will be they'll want to race right under this near side running rail. but they'll have to leave it in order to go to the left-hand side of the next omitted hurdle. So out in front it's Bedrock who leads. You could see there Barry Geraghty reaching to try and adjust his goggles. I don't think he's pulled his goggles down. Barry, I don't know whether he was reaching up for them as if he was going to try and pull them down. He's riding goggleless at the moment, as out in front it's Bedrock leads by half a length from Slate House towards the inside Dame de Compagnie. This is where they'll move off the hurdles course for quite a little while. That shot we showed you means they can't get back onto the hurdles course until they enter the back straight. So out in front it's Bedrock who shows the way. Slate House racing in second place. In third is Dame de Compagnie, just ahead of in fourth place Better Get Along, and Somerville Boy is last of the five. So they're climbing the hill, and Slate House it is who leads by half a length. Bedrock racing in second. Dame de Compagnie, the Utoxeter winner, racing in third place. In fourth is Better Get Along, and then Somerville Boy. So they'll now cut the corner effectively and then angle to the right. You'll see where that running rail will run out in a moment, and they will head presumably right over to that far running rail in order to jump flight number 3, and that's where Slate House indeed is going to take the field. So we're now back on the straight and narrow for a while, with the next 5 flights all being taken. And over in front we have Slate House by a length. Bedrock in second place, Dame de Compagnie in third, half a length to Better Get Along, and a length to Somerville Boy as they make their way down the side of the racecourse, and the field right over against that far side running rail, looking for any element of grass that's untouched from the 3 days of racing we've had here. There's not much of it. Slate House out in front by a length, and second Bedrock, third for Dame de Compagnie, and Better Get Along on the outside. They dispute that position. This is flight number 2. It is also the third last, as out in front Slate House leads. Bedrock was a little bit cumbersome in second. Third, Better Get Along on the outside of Dame de Compagnie. Somerville Boy last of the 5. So they swing left-handed and race towards the next flight of hurdles, and then there'll be 2 on the downhill run, which will be the last 2 flights. Slate House by half a length, second for Bedrock. 2 lengths for Get Along as they make the next. Good leap by Slate House, who's jumped better than Bedrock. Slight mistake at the back as well by Somerville Boy. So Slate House for Harry Cobden and Colin Tizard, leading by a length as they now begin the turn at the top of the hill, run downhill towards what will be the final 2 flights. We'll have a run-in of round about 3 furlongs or so. So out in front, Bedrock moves through to try and rejoin Slate House. Third for Better Get Along, Dame de Compagnie just shaken up on the inside. In fourth, Barry Geraghty getting a little lower in the saddle. And out in front, it is still at the third last Slate House. Slate House joined again by Bedrock, who jumped that a bit better. Dame de Compagnie asked to go up the inside. Then Better Get Along, Somerville Boy last of the 5. Slate House running down to what will be the final flight of hurdles in about 100 yards time, and then the swing and uphill climb for home. And out in front it is Slate House, Bedrock in second place. Better Get Along, Dame de Compagnie trying to cut the corner, still with work to do, and Slate House travels powerfully as they move up the home straight. And out in front it is Slate House. Remember, we'll omit the final flight of hurdles and go by the side of the chase course and up the run-in. From the back, Somerville Boy is now giving chase. Bedrock's in third place and being ridden along. Dame de Compagnie can't go with them at this stage. Slate House now being shaken up. The jumping is done. Somerville Boy, Bedrock in third place, but still Slate House has the lead. Slate House driven along. Somerville Boy trying to launch a challenge. Slate House edging over to the near side rail. Somerville Boy getting closer. Slate House all out to prevail, still hanging to the right. Somerville Boy won't get there. Slate House, the race goes again to Colin Tizard. Harry Cobden in the saddle. Slate House it was who won. Somerville Boy ran really well in second place. Better Get Along in third. And it was Slate House. He was hanging over to the near side. He travelled best into the race. Full marks to Somerville Boy. He came from the back of the field. Now, whether or not Slate House is a cue card, it's a tall reputation to have to live up to. But the race will again go to Colin Tizard, and Slate House retains his unbeaten record under rules.
Ooh, you probably could have done